287. That is the magical number for the Indian team if they are to win the second test match at Perth versus Australia. But they've only got 15 of those runs so far. And most importantly, have lost 2 wickets. 272 runs short is what India at the moment. Murali Vijay batting 6 not out. You've already had Pujara and KL Rahul walk back to the pavilion. Joining me, Murali Kartik, VVS Laxman, Damien Martyn. Start with you, Kartik. It just somehow feels that no Indian bowling is complete unless the opposition have a lower order stand.
Okay. You flummoxed me there. Look, that's the way it happens sometimes. And I seriously thought that after doing all the good work, again, when searching for wickets against Hazelwood and Stark, and I think it could be, yeah, obviously the game is still too far away from India, but you never know, those handy runs from them too were very niggly and irritating, I would say, for any Indian fan.
Those 36 runs that we were talking about Hazelwood and Stark have put together. Damien, how crucial could those 36 runs be, or do you think Australia would have been comfortable either way?
No, I think you take every run you can get, and as I said, that was a big session, wasn't it? India did so well to come out after lunch and get back in the game and get all those wickets, and then as Murali said, maybe that last wicket went searching too much. There was some batting that they got away with a bit of runs, but it's a handy partnership just to make that total a little bit more, and then the boys come out and get a couple of wickets. So will it be handy? I don't know. It's going to be a big last session. I think it all, as we know, revolves around probably one man, and that's Kohli.
287 I mentioned is the magical figure. Do you really see this Indian batting lineup capable of getting anywhere close to that?
Oh, it's going to be very tough. There's no two ways about it. It depends on Virat Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane, because Murali Vijay has been short of confidence, no runs, has been out of the team. Yes, he's coming and he's trying his best to fight it out. But I think if India has to get this magical figure, or it would be a miraculous win, it would be boiling down to how Virat Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane will bat. But it's going to be a tough task. And the way the Australian bowlers have bowled so far, suddenly you see there are a lot of things happening from the wicket. There's a lot of demons in the wicket. The extra bounce, Hazelwood and Mitchell Stark are extracting. One went above Tim Paine's head, where he was not able to stop that. So it shows that it's going to be really hard work for the Team Indian batsmen.
Interesting, it talks about that pitch, but those demons were also visible when India were bowling. Would you then say Australia utilised it better?
Look, if you look at those 2 wickets, I'm still having a look. Sometimes it's not the balls which do so much get you the wickets, it's the other balls which get you the wickets. Because if you look at a KL Rahul dismissal, I don't think the ball did anything off the surface.
Okay.
It's just that your own demons in your head, your own, the lack of clarity in the thought process, as we all say, and you ask every cricketer who's played the game or every sports person who's played the game, they always say that every sport is played between your ears.
Okay.
Once that gets clouded, that gets muddled, that's where all the self-doubts creep in, all the problems creep in. Otherwise, everybody is skillful and gifted enough. And over here, that was quite evident in the way KL Rahul, there was nothing. It was a harmless delivery if you look at it. It was a good delivery, but it was not getting you a wicket, where on a normal way, when your form's good, your bat's not there, your bat's not hanging out to be getting an edge or getting that inside edge. And so was the case with Cheteshwar Pujara. Yes, it did bounce, but it was still playing quite away from his body, which he generally doesn't. So it's not the wicket. Tim Paine delivery did much, and that was a brute of a delivery to get rid of him. But if you look at the majority of the wickets, it's the other deliveries which are going to get you wickets on the surface.
I want to talk in detail about that KL Rahul dismissal as well as that dismissal of Cheteshwar Pujara. But before that, you heard VVS Laxman use that word miraculous. It is going to be miraculous if India can reach 287. And we say that looking at how they've performed in 2018 in away test matches. If you take a look at that, the best innings or total that they got was at the Oval, 345 what India got, but that was in a losing cause. If you look at after that, 151, 184, 135 and 162 all in losing call. Now that doesn't inspire too much confidence.
Yeah, and the target there was 464, and it was a very good wicket to bat on Oval, and as the match progressed, it became very, very slow. A lot of hard work for the bowlers. I'm not really comparing this with the Joburg wicket, but it's very close to Joburg wicket, where there was a lot of uneven bounce. In fact, at one stage the umpire thought of calling the match off because of the cracks on the wicket. And here you can see that cracks, and I'm sure that Australian bowlers, the way they're bowling, they're tall, they hit the deck, and they hit the right lines, which is so important to create that doubt in the mindset of the batsman. So it's going to be a tough task, and if India can pull this off, it will be one of the most incredible wins in the history of Indian cricket.
Second only to maybe Eden Gardens, if they were to.
Well, based on the conditions, I think any win in overseas conditions will be more satisfying than when you win in your own backyard.
Okay, you're talking about doubts creeping inside the batsman's head, and that leads me to our next question. This is on KL Rahul, and remember, he was under scrutiny before this test match even began. Hasn't had a great time. Debjyoti Sarma wants to know, how long a rope should KL Rahul get in test with so many talents like Prithvi Shaw and Mayank Agarwal sitting outside? Kartik?
It's already a tough one. Look, his place in the side or in the 11 is hanging right now because of the fact that Prithvi Shaw is there. If Murali Vijay also doesn't get runs, so they'll have to look for twin openers for the next test match.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's going to happen because apart from that 100 at the Oval, it's not been a great time for KL Rahul, and that's why it saddens everyone, because he's such a beautiful player to watch. He's such a wonderful talent. He's such a wonderful batsman, and from the heights of how he was batting, it looks as if you're finding methods to get out. So that is what saddens everyone. So obviously he's already got a decent enough rope. Okay. I feel the whole tour of England, West Indies, and now these 2 test matches, like what has happened to Shikhar Dhawan, in spite of getting runs in India, if you don't get runs abroad, then obviously the patience wears thin. So it's going to be an interesting one.
They're already on notice as far as the 2 Indian openers are concerned. We are continuing our discussion with KL Rahul. We've got another question now from Mithun Mohan. This is for Kartik specifically. KL Rahul should go on and play the Ranji Trophy and get back his confidence.
I think if you're dropped from the side, that's all is left for you. No option, no other option for you.
Yeah.
But would they want to do it right now in the middle of the series? I don't think that should be done because you're abroad. You're not in India. If you're in India, then obviously if you're not making the 11, then you can go and play the game. But I'm not a big fan of sending somebody back in the middle of a tour unless and until it's for disciplinary reasons. So that's not a great signal. But yeah, if he does get a game or the next game and manages to get runs and resurrect his form from there, then it's a different thing. Obviously after this tour, that is all you'll have to do. You'll have to go and find runs and find your method back to the way you were batting.
Sorry, you wanted to make a point?
No.
So staying on with the openers, we're assuming that this is the last time we're seeing, but what do you make of it? Is this the last time we've seen KL Rahul on this tour?
That's going to be a challenge, because the 3 openers, Prithvi Shaw will get fit for the Melbourne Test match. Now there's another option in Parthiv Patel, who's an experienced batsman who has done well in the past and who's got the ability to play the quicks, because when you're playing in Australia, you have to have the ability to score runs against the bouncing delivery, and also when the wicket will be quick. And then seeing what has happened at Perth, I think even in MCG, I think that will be the instructions to the curator that we want fast bouncy wicket at MCG. So I think another option would be the experience of Parthiv Patel, who has opened in the past. Now the only off-air we will discussing, the only issue would be is if Parthiv is playing just as a pure batsman. Now where will we field? Because fielding is also very important. Yeah. MCG is a big ground. Now Parthiv Patel, can he field in the closing positions like slip or gully, or if he's in the outfield, or if he's not in the closing position, where does he field? So that's one option.
Or if he plays, does he play in place of the other man, Rishabh Pant? Then that's not fair. That's not fair on Rishabh Pant either, and it's not fair on Parthiv either. That you make him keep, and then if he keeps for 100 overs, then he has to go and open. And then if he doesn't get runs, again his neck is on the block. So it's not fair on Parthiv either. So if he plays, he'll play. He has to play only as an opener.
But this is going to be a big issue for India to solve.
Right, of course, the opening conundrum. I mean, just going through some of the comments of people who are watching, most of them didn't expect anything out of the openers. I mean, that's the kind of expectations they've had from KL Rahul, Murali Vijay, based on their form. Let's talk about the star for India in this session was Mohammad Shami, picked up 6 wickets. Damien, let me come to you. We were talking about this after that lunch break during our discussion where, VVS was of the opinion you need to change the lengths that you bowl, the line that you specifically bowl on this particular track. Did you see that change after lunch with Shami?
Well, you did also, you got some nicks, didn't you, and some fierce balls. I mean, that Khawaja ball was outstanding. It just took off. And so I think, obviously the Australians came out, confident that it's going to be the same before lunch, they're batting. And India just came out with a different mindset. And Shami just, we mentioned this the whole series. He just needed a bit of luck. And this test match, even when India bowled first, a lot of players have missed, a lot of chances. This time he got the wickets. And 6 wickets, 656 is, amazing. And he opened the game up and gave Kohli and his team a chance of winning. And you saw Kohli at the end, got that last wicket. He was pumped. He was excited to think, well, at lunch they went in, 4 wickets down, what was going to happen. And all of a sudden they bowled Australia out. And it's a slight chance, but, you're still a chance of winning the test match.
All right, there's a ray of hope, as Damien Martyn is saying. Talking about Mohammad Shami, we have a name for him here at ESPN Cricinfo. We call him Mohammad Second Innings Shami. That's because he does so much better in second innings. If you take a look at that, the difference in terms of wickets, he's picked up 28 vis-a-vis 16 in the first innings. Best is also 6 for 56. You can see that. And then look at that strike rate. I mean, the major difference, clearly, VVS, he enjoys bowling in the second innings.
Yeah, I think that also is a little surprising for me because his wrist position is so upright, lands on the seam regularly. So he has to even create these chances in the first innings where if you're playing in overseas test matches, invariably the wicket will be assisting the fast bowlers. But having said that, I think just this ability of bowling straight, because even in overseas conditions, the wicket deteriorates as the match progresses. So there will be a lot of lateral movement, there will be a lot of cracks which develop, and because of him bowling the lines, which we didn't see him bowl in the first session today, but bowl in the second session, he gets more wickets. Because I was talking to Waqar Younis and Wasim Akram, and they say that when you're bowling to the tailenders or when you're bowling in the second innings of a test match, the straighter you bowl, the more wickets you get.
Right.
And when you're bowling in the first inning, it's not necessary, because as a good batsman, when there's not too much of help from the wicket, the straighter you bowl, the batsman can capitalize and can score runs. So there you have to bowl in the channel where you're almost forcing the batsman to play a loose shot. But as the wicket deteriorates, the straighter you bowl, you got more opportunity of picking up wickets.
You also said you were surprised.
I'm absolutely surprised because of the skill he possesses. It's surprising that those numbers will do a spinner proud because of the fact that as the wicket deteriorates, the spinner comes into play. But for a seamer, look, you can be happy about it because then you feel that you've got a seamer who can still bowl well for you in the second innings. You're not reliant just on a spinner. But apart from that, the one thing which you would want to change are those first innings numbers, because as Laxman said, the wicket is a lot fresher for a seamer in the first innings than it is than in the second innings. So you would want somebody as skillful as Mohammad Shami to have better first innings numbers, because then that gives India the opportunity to wrap up the opposition even quicker if Shami is on fire.
Okay, we've got a question now, specifically, I think he's talking about India's batting. We're getting this from YouTube, and this is, let's see who this is, Parag Roy Chaudhary. How much has Shami evolved in this calendar year, and how precious is he to Kohli? Okay, VVS, I'll let you answer that, because we keep talking about Bumrah being the strike bowler, but what about Shami?
He's evolved as a person. People are talking just about his performances on the ground, which has been remarkable. There was a stage during the IPL where I thought that Shami would leave the game because of what was happening in his personal life. So I think credit to him, credit to the Indian cricket team and the BCCI for backing him and giving him those opportunity, because the only way he could get back the life which he almost lost during the IPL or just before the IPL, prior to IPL, was through his performances and playing for the country and doing something which he loves so much. So that's why I think he's evolved as a person, and credit to him that he's translated those opportunities into performances which has been remarkable. He's been the highest wicket taker for Team India throughout the 2018 calendar season. So I think it's great. And India or Virat Kohli has got the luxury of having 4 or 5 quality bowlers, you know.
Yeah.
So it's credit to Shami because he was really down and out in the month of April and May.
Okay, you talk about Virat Kohli having that luxury. In fact, Virat was asked about this group of fast bowler that he has, and he said he's really, really lucky as a captain to have such a good crop of fast bowlers. It's not that he's unleashed them. Over the years, they've developed into some fine bowlers. Okay, now that the Indian team have their backs toward the wall, and now we're also going to look at the Fab Four and see how our experts are doing. They had their backs toward the wall as far as the first session was concerned. It was 0-0-0 to all of them, but has that changed now? Damien Martyn still on top with 514 points.
We need to know how we got those points. How we all got those points.
We're completely out of time, but just after the show is done, I will have the Excel sheet and we'll sit and I'll show you exactly. But he's there. Believe you me, those points are right.
Right.
VVS
I believe in you, don't worry.
Okay.
And the scorer.
281 and beyond.
Okay, 363 is what VVS Laxman's got, but as I've been saying that he's always good in the second innings, you never know. But finally, before I wrap up, Damien, is this the final session of the test match that's coming up?
Well, it depends. If you're asking me, yes, hopefully as an Australian. But look, it's going to be a big session, isn't it? It could be that way. The way that wicket's playing, anything could happen.
If Virat is out, it could well be the final session of the day.
You haven't picked Virat in Fab 4, so I'm thinking...
Something different. You have to do something different if you have to score consistently in the second innings.
Okay.
I hope not. I hope not.
Yeah.
Hope not. Are you hoping against hope?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I said I hope not.
All right, we'll leave it at that. VVS Laxman, Murali Kartik, Damien Martyn, thanks so much for joining us. 15 for 2, India at the moment, target of 287 runs. As all three of our experts agree, it's going to be a very, very tough task for the Indian batting lineup. You are watching ESPN Cricinfo Match Day, brought to you by Maruti Suzuki.